is the Rangers Journal Night.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Rangers Journal post-match after Rangers' disappointing 1-1 draw with Dundee. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Rangers trying but failing to break down a stubborn team in a low block, paying the price from a set piece, and then having to be saved at the end by James Tavernier. It feels like some things never change. Here to talk to me about tonight's great match, I've got Ross with me. Hi, Ross.
How we doing, Doug?
Well, I could be better. But I am better than I was 37 minutes into the game, but not by much.
Not the only one.
Yeah, welcome to the guys in the comments. Thanks for joining us, Dado and Stephen, Phil as well. I see in there. Get your comments in on that match, and we will bring some up as we go through. So Ross, I mean, we'll start at the beginning. So we had in fact, I'll just quickly pull up the lineup here. What were your thoughts when the lineup came up? It was an unchanged team from the European game.
I was happy with the lineup. I was actually surprised that Martin Stevenson lineup, to be honest. Personally, I would have rested a few. I was happy when I did see the lineup. So,
yep, I think me and Scotty pretty much. Me and Scotty pretty much said the same thing in the pre-match. We were reasonably pleased to see the unchanged team. I used to say I wanted to see a bit of that continuity there because I was hoping that would lead to, as I say, us continuing to build on what he'd done in Europe, but that clearly wasn't the case. They just didn't seem to gel the same way. Do you think? Do you think it's something to do with the team? Is it something to do with the opposition, and obviously the fact that they're playing a team that it felt like they had about 112 men behind the ball at times?
I've got to be honest, on Dundee's part, they done the work on us during the week. They had a plan set out how we played. So from the first whistle, you could see Dundee were doing everything they could to stop us from attacking. Yeah, as much as I had 11 men behind the ball, they had a game plan. That's the difference. Actually having a game plan against us and not. So as much as I hate to say it, fair play Dundee. They come out there and gave us a game. A lot of people might disagree there, but again, that's just my opinion. So I don't know about you, Doug. How you feel about that?
I don't know if I would have categorised it as giving us a game. I think they set up their stall to defend and to stop us from creating. And in large parts they managed that. Although when we'll go through the game, I think to begin with we looked bright. We were making decent passes. We were moving the ball around reasonably well. It wasn't super quick. I know there was a few guys in our chat that were complaining that it was still a bit too slow, and I think that was true to a certain extent. But I did feel like we were getting some reasonable moves in, and we did get a really good early chance. Jeff Day with a really good slide rule pass into Gassama, who I thought, it looked like it was perfectly lined up for one of his same of one of his goals that he's been having, but he decided to switch it, and then Dessers intercepted it. Unfortunately, it looks like we've got an interloper has decided to join us after all. Good afternoon, Jack.
Sorry, boys, I didn't account for added on time when I agreed to do the post-match. I had to run back to the car.
That's fine.
Jack, right?
I noticed the time about 10 minutes ago. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be a bit tight. So sorry, boys, I ran back. Got here now.
It's all good, you're here.
You look far too happy for what has just transpired.
I'm still not come to terms with that last minute overrule. That was very high, and now I'm very low.
If I'm going to be honest, it was offside. Let's be honest. I'm kind of fed up with this being offside now. There's no point denying it. It was offside at the time. I was saying, I'm like, that's offside.
Jumping ahead a wee bit there. So we'll go through the first half first of all. We were just talking about the first half there, and we started off touching on the starting lineup. What were your thoughts when you saw the starting lineup? Were you happy with the unchanged side?
wasn't really thinking there was any need for any changes. Would have just been for rotation's sake. So, yeah, I thought after the performance midweek, the team we put out should have been more than good enough to get by Dundee.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were just talking about the start of the first half. I thought we started fairly brightly. We were moving the ball about, making some decent passes. So Jeffrey looked quite good. He made a really good pass into Gasama for an early chance that, as I say, it looked like all of his some of his other earlier goals, but instead of shooting, he decides to switch it. What were your thoughts, Jack, on the sort of this first 5 to 15 minutes?
Yeah, so I get in about 5 minutes in, so I didn't see anything in the first 5 minutes, but I thought we started brightly. We looked like we were in control, but it was just one of those days overall, and even at the start, we never looked like really overly testing the Dundee goalkeeper. We're getting in good positions, but it's kind of the same story as the last few years. We go in these European games and we look brilliant breaking through the lines, but when we come up against 5-6 man defences like we do in Scotland, we just seem to struggle to have the same kind of, chances that we do in the European games, which is frustrating because I was feeling that was going to change under Martin with the new style, but not so far.
And Ross, we've got Smoke here saying Martin's thought he was coming up here for an easy ride. He's underestimated the Scottish game. Do you think that Martin's underestimating it, or is it just a case that the system isn't bedded in yet? The players aren't settled into it yet?
Possibly, but then my argument would be, I think with Rangers should be gelling by now. Whether it's on the training ground or not, we shouldn't be second game season and not gel as a team. Okay, that might just be me thinking too much of it, but we, in respect, we should not be getting a draw against Dundee. We should be winning. We're at home. We can't afford the games like Dundee. I mean, they're playing tomorrow. They'll win top of the league. And that's just going to keep starting. And I just feel like with the games in Europe as well, we need to gel quickly. Or it's just going to go again, massive circle. It's just a very bad season for us. So
Absolutely.
hopefully,
Yep, absolutely. Jack, we did start to get some warnings sort of midway through the first half. Dundee got a couple of corners and a couple of chances, and they had the post twice in sort of reasonably quick succession as well. And they had a bit of a five-minute period where it seemed like the tide was turning before we kind of got back on track before the end of the first half. Did you have any worries at that point?
Yeah, it was one of those ones though, when they hit the post twice, Butland obviously makes the save. You're thinking, right, we've rode our luck, it could be our day, but again, we're giving up too many chances, and it's one thing doing it to Panathinaikos for a decent team, but Motherwell and Dundee especially, lost to League Two teams in their cup games earlier on. Them getting this, they had better chances than us today at a home game at Ibrox, and that should not be happening. So it was a warning sign, but at the same time, I was kind of thinking, right, our luck might be in here.
Yeah. As I say, they had their kind of sort of 5 or 10 minute period where they kind of came into it. Then we sort of closed out the half, making a few more chances. And come half time, I was feeling okay about the game. I thought we played reasonably well. It just felt like we were missing that little bit of cutting edge in the final, excuse me, in the final ball. But in my mind, I was thinking, right, reset, get a bit of a chat into them, come out in the second half, and a bit more of the same, but with a little bit more pep, a bit more tempo. Where were you come halftime, Ross, in terms of your thoughts on the game?
I was quite happy with the team, same as yourself, Doug. Needed, my phrase, a kick up the bum. Come on, boys. It was a second half, let's go, get a quick start. It feels like we never got a quick start. Yeah, with a couple of chances, but not brilliant chances. I just feel like we're giving Dundee too much respect at home. We shouldn't be giving teams like Dundee respect. It's our home. Teams like that should be scared to play Ibrox. Maybe a couple of years ago before the last time that happened, teams were scared coming to Ibrox. We need to get that back. Ibrox is our home. It doesn't feel like it just now. Very frustrating. Very frustrating indeed. So, again, second half, kind of get back and forth, but I don't know if you want to talk about the red card just now. There are no arguments for that for me. He was last man. Whether it's soft or not, he was last man. There no arguments on that at all. It's a very stupid tackle to make him last man. But that's just my opinion. Don't know about yourself. So,
what about yourself, Jack? Where were you? Where were you at half time?
Just kind of thinking, right, same as Ross, kind of Martin, giving him a boot up the backside and get out here, get a quick early goal. I wasn't really too worried. I thought the boos at half time were a bit quick, but I understand the frustration, and probably in hindsight they look kind of right. But at the time I was thinking people need to kind of calm down. Before I get slaughtered for it in the comments after the result, yeah, in hindsight they were right. I just thought at the time we need a bit of patience. But yeah, I was still confident we would win the game at half time. I just thought, honestly, going into the game today, I thought this was a gimme. I thought this was a perfect game against a really poor Dundee side to get points on the board. And the fact we've not done is a real bad sign for me.
Yeah, no, I definitely think you're on something there. I was very much the same. Dundee, you know, they've not been showing much creativity in their matches up until now. They'd struggled in their early games against, you know, opposition that I would expect them to beat. Like yourself, I thought this was going to be a perfect game for the team to kind of unleash a little, but alas, that was not the case. So they came out in the second half, and as Ross alluded to a few moments ago, in very quick time, things just totally imploded. Ball through the middle, perfectly cuts through the defence. Dundee attacker is coming alongside Giga, and it's just a classic. You know, he does exactly what the attacker should do, runs across the defender. Giga, in his defence, he doesn't actually really do anything. He doesn't like really put a leg out or anything like that, but the trailing leg of the defender comes off him. They've come together. It's stopping an obvious goal scoring opportunity, and so he goes off. As Ross said, I don't think there's any real complaints there with that decision, unfortunately. We were down to 9, and Dundee's tails were up.
I think with that, I think it was down the referees' section as well. Every referee's different. But again, they're not obviously me the red card at all. Unfortunately, I want to defend them, but I can't. Stupid tackle, as I mentioned.
Yeah,
what were your thoughts come the red card?
On the ground, it was a dive. I thought on the ground it was a dive. I've only seen stills back. I've not seen the video. Does touch him, and in a modern game, you're gonna be sent off for that. I'm a bit frustrated though, because it looked as if Giga's a big guy, long legs. It looked as if he had a chance of getting back in there. Just from where I was sitting, I don't know if on the TV it looked like he wasn't getting there, but I thought he would have had a chance of getting back round him, which makes it even more frustrating, because I think he would. I thought the striker looked leggy, and Giga looked like he had a chance of getting back there.
I think looking on the TV, he didn't have a chance of getting back, but that's just images that I seen on live time. He was never making it back. Maybe you seen a different angle, but I'm sorry, but in my angles, I'm watching the TV, he was never getting back. See, he either made the tackle or Dundee was in to score. Butler would come out, and you know what happens in Butler goes out, I'm afraid. Scary.
Yeah, the tackle was ahead of him, so I think obviously it's hard to say. Maybe he could have made a tackle, but as I say, Jigan didn't really actually do anything, so I don't think it was a case of could he have not done something? Could he have not done that and tried any harder? The guy's just gone over him, and I say that was that. And it wasn't too long until Dundee went from tails up to 1 up. They get a free kick, just sort of not that far off from the edge of the box. And it's just really poor defending from Rangers. It's a fairly softly lofted kick into the back post. The ball goes over the top of Jeffrey's head. Man behind him nods it back into the box. And then I have to say an excellent header from Astley, who just kind of loops the ball right up and over Butland. Not a huge amount Butland could have done either, I don't think. So I don't think we can necessarily blame him. But I think, you know, the defending has to be better. We have to be winning. If not the first one, then definitely the second, because there seemed to be very little, if anyone, around Astley when he heads the ball. So
no, they weren't aimed at all. So it was an easy header. Good goal, as you said, though. Well, I'd be old-fashioned. I want players on the post that can help that one. But again, everyone's opinion is different. But I'm old-fashioned. Corners, free kicks, whatever. There should be men on the post. The goalkeeper can only do so much. People are playing Butland can only do so much as well. And it's a good goal. That goal is at Rangers end to concede, but it was a really good goal. They did deserve the goal. It was really good play from the corner. But I may be crap in the comments, but I'm being honest.
What were your thoughts on the defending there, Jack?
Yeah, I thought it was actually a cracking goal. But yeah, I know what Ross is saying about men in the post. I agree with him with the corners, but I feel with the free kicks, you're just leaving yourself kind of open to leaving everyone kind of on side. You need to be winning one of the headers. If you're letting the opposition get free headers in your box, then you know you're very susceptible to conceding. I thought we were looked poor from defending set pieces all game. I just quickly, Doug, I've seen the comment there about Giga being okay for the Old Firm. If I'm not incorrect, we're postponing the St Mirren game. Would that not mean he is going to miss the Old Firm game, or does this one count for the League Cup game with Alloa? I don't know if anyone knows.
So I believe that would be correct if we are postponing the St Mirren game. It's not actually class of a game, if that makes sense. So my interpretation, he misses the Old Firm game. It makes it even more annoying as a tackle. But the thing is,
that's my interpretation too. Sorry.
We haven't proposed it yet. So are we going to still do it, or are we going to keep it? As far as I'm led to believe, we haven't postponed it yet. So I don't know how our Rangers have got to make that decision.
Well, they've already announced that they're going to. So I presume they've already put it in. Is it a 2-game ban though?
I believe it is in a red card. Yes.
Straight red.
I think we should go to the next.
I just don't know if the Alloa game counts.
I don't think so.
Something to look into then. I can't. I'm the same. I can't say.
100%. Yeah.
I just thought the longer bans were only for violent conduct, red cards, as opposed to just a in-game red card. But like I say, I will have to look into that one and double check so that we can figure out. But either way, it doesn't help if we're 2 games and letting 2 goals, so we can't. It's not helping that we're losing what has been our best defender, regardless of who we're playing at the moment. So there's that. So the game carries on. Obviously, as I say, Dundee. Things are obviously going well for them. They're 1-0 up, and now they've got something to hold on to. They've already been defending reasonably well in the game up to that point, and now they've got something to go. I'll put the question again to both of you here. I'll start with yourself, Jack. There were various substitutions made throughout the remainder of the game, and we seemed to just go from. He was like, well, I've lost one defender. I'll just go to having no defenders. Are you on the side of those subs were totally bonkers, or are you on the side of, well, I'll give him credit because he went for it?
A little bit of both. It kind of reminded me, I don't know if you boys remember a Pedro game against Motherwell where we
can't believe you're bringing up Pedro.
Yeah, 3 subs.
As if that day wasn't bad enough.
No, I don't know if you remember. We took off 3 defenders.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It kind of reminded me of that. I mean, I was expecting Tavernier to come on and go to 3 at the back when Giga went off, but when Jeffrey went off and it went to the 2, I was a bit concerned. The Dowell one, I didn't get too much, and we kind of seen typical Kieran Dowell performance. There was actually boos around me when he came on, which is never a good sign. It's just too far. Yeah, he's too far gone with support to be bringing on in that situation. It's all well and good bringing him on if you're 2-0 up, but that's not the man the fans want to see. As much as Martin might like him, he has to know he's not going to be an influence in the game. Fair play to him for going for it. It kind of worked. I mean, we did get forward a bit more. We did get the penalty with the extra men in the box. We had the extra men in the box obviously with the late disallowed goal. But we were very, very susceptible in the break. There was a couple of times where it looked as if Dundee were going to break on us and get a second. But I suppose you can say it worked from the position we were in, 10 men, 1-0 down. We did get something from the game, but not enough. Aye.
And Ross, Thomas is saying here he took off the 3 players that looked like they could do something in Cameron, Rothwell, and Jeffrey.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts in terms of the people he was taking off? Did you think he took off the right people?
No. He heard at the stadium as well. The subs he made was bonkers. Even I'm screaming to tell you what you're playing at. Feels like Martin had fans on side to make the sub. Sorry, the changes he made, but now it's back to square one. What you playing at? See this booing players coming on. That's just crap. I know people don't like Dow, example, but unfortunately Martin likes him. Yeah, we can all agree he's not a good footballer. But if that's who Martin wants to bring on, the fans need support him. Because if you start booing as well, everyone else is going to be the same around the team, if that makes sense. So everyone else is going to feel the booing. But yeah, I wouldn't even gas them on Ant-Man. I wouldn't say they had a good game today. They came back to Dundee. They looked as they knew how to stop them. I couldn't even see maybe one player pass their man of the match today. And that's very frustrating. Massive. I was picking one. But I can't think of one at all. I can't think of one player that deserves it. But the same as Jack, when Jeffrey come off, I'm like, wow, what's happening? Like, am I seeing things? Even Jeffrey was kind of surprised, if that makes sense as well. Like, what's happening? But yeah, we made the changes, we got the goal, but still stupid changes in my opinion. But yeah, I was saying I had to bring Tab on at half time. But again, that's all different opinions, but again, that's just mine. People disagree if you like, but that's just my opinion on it.
On that point, Jack, I've got Andrew here. Aaron's saying Aaron's was criminally poor. I've seen another couple of comments about Aaron's performance today. I thought, like in the first half, I thought he was okay, but he seemed to, for me, have a predilection to constantly pass the ball backwards. He was getting the ball, sort of looking forwards, but then turning back a lot. And we weren't. I didn't feel like we were getting an awful lot in an attacking sense from his side, unlike say Jeffrey, who I thought had a lot more sort of attacking thrust, although not always getting with it. And he, to be fair, also did turn back a couple of times. But what were your thoughts on Aaron's today?
Yeah, we need to take into account. Obviously, Tavernier's on the way down now, but in his prime, he was very, very, very good going forward. Aaron's is not the same type of player. He is a bit more defensive. I thought he had a good game on Tuesday night, especially with his balls down the wing for Ant-Man. But the game today, Ant-Man was never going to get the space he had during the week, and he just didn't have the space, the guy in front of him, to run into. Dundee played men behind the ball, doubled up on both our wingers. And then Aaron's doesn't do what Tavernier's been very good at, where he can drive infield. I know he's meant to be an inverted wing back, but he just wasn't doing that today. And that kind of cost us, because if there was space to run into, we just didn't seem to be taking advantage of it. And I'm not really surprised that Aaron's came off. I thought Tavernier would come on, obviously with the Giga sending off, but eventually Aaron's, he was poor today. I don't think Aaron's is a poor player. I think he showed on Tuesday night he has his place. But I think when you're playing teams at home at Ibrox, like your Dundees, your Livingstons will not come later in the season, Motherwell, Kilmarnock, those are games for Tavernier. He's got that directness. He can break through the middle.
Yeah.
I think Aaron's is more suited for your kind of bigger games, games at home in Europe, Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeen, Celtic, and obviously maybe some tougher away games. But I think for games where you're up against a back five, a back six, the low block, you need Tavernier in there. As much as I know a lot of people would like to hear that and think he's done, he isn't the player he was, but I still think he's going to be more impactful when we're up against these packed defences than Arms will be. I think Arms is more suited to your sort of tougher games that we're going to need to dig in a bit more.
So
I
sorry,
think
sorry. If I bring it up, Tavernier's a week, so that's an argument as well. Aaron's doesn't. Yeah, a lot of people hate Tav playing, but I agree. I would have started Tav today. Maybe take on, I don't know, 60 minutes if it's going well. But yeah, I agree. Tavernier's a week, so I don't know. I agree his legs are going, he's last his contract, but I'm at the argument if he wants to sign another contract. Good people hate me saying that, but he is the captain. I'll support the captain, He wants to say an extension. Never mind. We need leaderships in the team. So people are going to make in the comments here, but
I was going to say, I think a lot of people would suggest that Tavernier's not the leadership they want anymore.
I agree,
But
but it's about captain, so I will support him.
I think when it comes to Aaron's, I think Aaron's is in an unenviable position because it's rare enough to have a player at a club for 10 years nowadays, but to be the man for that player to also be the club captain and you to be the person coming in to replace that person is a difficult job. And I think Aaron's will have the downside where whenever he plays well, he'll get his plaudits. But when and people will compare him to Tavernier today. But whenever he plays badly, he'll get hammered and he'll be compared to the Tavernier of yesteryear. And so he's got a bit of a lose-lose in that scenario. So, but I do think, as Jack, you said, I think he is a decent player, and certainly if he can get anywhere near where he was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, then I think we'll definitely have a decent player there and someone to, like you say, we can alternate and use their skills for the appropriate sort of challenges that we face. Okay, so we've got one of the people here is raising a good point here. Ange Postecoglou obviously came into a Celtic side that was absolutely decimated by us. Came in, and to begin with, we all thought, oh, this is fine because he was doing poorly. And in fact, not only in his first few games, but a good few weeks, 5 or 6 weeks, I think, Celtic were really poor at the start of that season. But then it clicked and they absolutely started to fly. So are we maybe just getting a bit too ahead of ourselves? Do we just need to kind of calm down and sort of say, right, we need to trust the process and give Martin more time, or are we right to be concerned? I'll throw it to you first, Jack.
Both. I think I remember obviously we beat Postecoglou in the Old Firm game at the end of August. Hollander scored. They lost to Hearts on the opening day, but I think they were helped by the fact we lost to Dundee United on game 2 that year. So it kind of depends on what they do. I mean, if they go up to Pittodrie tomorrow and drop points, then yeah, we can kind of have a bit of patience with it. If they go up there and win tomorrow, then we are right up against it again. That's Old Firm game with all the pressure on us, which is something we don't need. Also, the other thing with this comparison is Celtic had one bad year going into that year, so I think there was more allowance for letting it gel, whereas we are going into this off the back of what 3 poor years. We don't have the patience for it. And as harsh as that is on Russell Martin, he'll have known this coming in. We are, if he came in, I wouldn't say Michael Beale did, he would get a bit of patience. Even when Comont did, he would have some patience. But the fact that we've had so many sort of false dawns, people are just going to be right against him from the start. I mean, I had a guy near me tonight when he brought on Kieran Dowell telling him to, leave, resign, and not the nice words as that. So the fan base, whether it's right on Martin or not, are so frustrated by the last few years. Martin's not been here, but he's going to get the brunt of that frustration. So I think that's the main difference. That Postecoglou was given more time, like Gerrard was for us. He was given time, but I don't think the fan base has that time in them this time round. I mean, there's been an arson comparison the year we lost 10 in a row ourselves. Celtic won the league that year and they lost both the first 2 games. But again, we dropped points early that season as well. So we could look back and this could be early teething problems, but all depends on what Celtic do, sadly. If they go out and win the Old Firm game, beat Aberdeen and go on a run, but they win their first 8-9 games, you're right up against it and the fan base are not going to have it.
Yeah. Ross, touching on what Jack said there about Gerrard got given time and the fans maybe don't have that time in them. Smoke said here, look, dropping points is okay, but that was shocking at home. Is it important, or actually, let me rephrase that. How important is it that Martin shows us something in these domestic games that tells us, look, if you give me the time, we will get somewhere? Do you think we saw any of that at all in this game, or was it just a sort of a write-off completely?
I feel like the game in general, as soon as it starts, a write-off. But I believe we didn't give Martin time. Yeah, I believe us as fans don't want to give him time. But we've got to believe in the board. They'll bring Martin as a gaffer. But I want to be positive, but I'm not feeling very positive tonight, at least. Just feel it again. You look at all the subs are wrong. Just the play was wrong. You can see Martin was getting frustrated. Just felt it was doing nothing to change it. You see him on the telly, his face was right down. Just felt like he just looked and sat back down the chair again. Very, very frustrating if you're watching the TV. I don't know what it was like yourself, Jack, being at the game. Did you notice that Martin just didn't seem bothered today?
I sit in the club deck, mate, so it's kind of I need to stand up to have a kind of look at the dugout. So I can't say I really noticed too much just because of where I sit.
Yeah, just feels that the day it doesn't matter. We've got Europe next week. That's what I felt like. It's not right. It doesn't sit right with me at all. I'm trying my best to remain professional, but it's really angry, the way we played today. Very angry indeed. I feel sorry for the fans having to pay the money to go and watch that today. It's easy enough for me sitting in the house being angry, but think of the fans having to travel far away for that today. Fans were leaving 75, 80 minutes. I wasn't surprised. The way we were playing, fans have paid that money, they can leave. Very frustrating. Very frustrating indeed. So, let's just hope we do better in Europe. Whether the way he plays is better in Europe, but that's not good enough. In my opinion, we need to be domestic in Europe. We need to have success. But as in brought up, we are hoping they drop points tomorrow. But it's a big if they don't.
You don't want to be relying on them.
Exactly. A lot of fans want to rely on them. Never rely on them. I personally couldn't care about them. No bother the notifications or anything. I know certain fans that will watch them tomorrow. Why? Why just get frustrated? Yeah, I'll have a look at full time. Oh, they won. Okay. Let's look at the next match. Never rely on Celtic, Hearts, whatever. You don't want relying on rivals at all.
Yeah.
But hopefully that's just a bump in the road and we move on. Hopefully.
Well, that's certainly the hope. So yeah, getting to the end of the game, then obviously we got 7 minutes added on, and Dominic here is saying, where did all that time come from? I was kind of thinking that myself. I didn't think there was that much that had happened. I was thinking maybe 3 or 4 minutes was coming, but thankfully for us, we got 7, and indeed it was in the 92nd, sorry, 92nd minute that we get a penalty. Gassama, who has been our saviour a number of times already this season, comes in clutch again with a nice little run in, beats his defender, gets around, and then again, it's kind of in a way similar to the Giga red card, tangle of legs, Gassama's down, and we have a penalty. And of course, by this point, James Savonier's back on, so he's up to take the penalty and does as usual, the wee legs, the wee run up, and then buries it into the bottom corner on his favourite side. And thankfully, that brings us to 1-1. There was a little bit of pep there, and this I must say, this was a bit that kind of annoyed me, because we got that goal. We had another sort of 4 minutes or so, and there was a sudden burst of urgency after that. And I was sitting there going, where the redacted has that been for the last 20, 30 minutes that we went 1-0 down? And I feel that that's another thing that we've seen far too many times from Rangers in the last few years, is that you have a setback, the setback knocks us, and it's not until we then get that first step back that we then seem to pep up. We don't pep up immediately. We pep up once we get the equaliser, and then suddenly it's if they go, oh, wait, we can score a goal. Maybe we can win this after all. So, that was a wee bit annoying for me. As I say, I felt like that pep should have been coming a good 20, 30 minutes before that. But the game ended 1-1. We did get the ball in the net once more from Cyril Dessers. For a moment, it looked like he was going to be the hero again against Dundee. Obviously, he got the last-minute goal last season, but unfortunately, he was just offside. Ross, I'll start with you in this one. Where do you sit there? Was he just unlucky, or I've seen a few people saying that he's getting a bit Inzaghi-esque and being kind of born offside. What's your kind of thoughts on that?
I feel like, as soon as I said to yourself before we come on, as soon as I seen it, offside. I don't know if it is the Dessers, it's like this, what the offside is. It's very frustrating. We need a last minute goal. It's like, I don't know, we need something, taking apart in the training and teach them the offside rule. I say it every season, it's frustrating. Very frustrating. I don't know about yourself, but every season it just feels like that goal, he's always offside. It's very frustrating, as I said. But no argument from me with the offside call.
What about yourself, Jack? What's your thoughts on that?
I've talking about the penalty. First of all, I had flashbacks to Queen's Park when I seen Tav step up in the last minute penalty. But thankfully puts it away, and we go for it. Like Danilo especially, he'd been anonymous since he came on, and then after we get the goal, he's involved in everything. And I'm like, where's that been like since you came on? But the ball comes through, Dessers puts it in, and obviously initially you're like going mental, and then you realise it's Dessers, and you're like, oh no, is he offside? He's in the ground, we don't know. And but then when you see, I'm like that, right? I need to see this ball in the centre spot, and it just doesn't come, and you're kind of like half expecting it. Well, I've not seen it back, but when I seen it was Dessers, I mean Ross mentioned it. He's got a history for this, and it's a lack of concentration. It's the last minute. Just focus on where you are. The ball's coming back, and make sure you're good. Make sure you're good. If the ball bounces away from you, but you're onside, fair enough. If you're offside, it's no good getting the ball and putting it in the net. I went a bit mental, then kind of calmed down and realised it was Dessers, and then half expecting it, and then I disallowed it. It's just kind of gutting, to be honest. It's typical for Dessers. How many times? Yeah. And I thought he'd got away. I thought he was coming deep and all that during the week, and I thought we'd kind of got away for this from him, but old habits die hard sometimes.
I feel like Dessers thinks about too much. If that makes sense, he thinks about himself too much. But again, my argument there should have been more added on time. We did that penalty, 91? How long did it take to check the penalty? 2 minutes or something?
93 minutes, bang on, we were back.
Exactly, so it should have been more added on time. Yeah, rather we're getting extra goal on that. That series, I don't know if you've seen it, but Dessers put up to the referee at full time. Raging, I was raging as well, like, where's the added on time? Me and Doug said, right, we'll schedule us for later, in case they're added on time. To me, it should have been 3 or 4 added on time. I know, but to me, it should have been easy on 3 or 4 added on time. But it's frustrating, we shouldn't be that it's added on time.
For about 92 minutes, though, it looked like we could play for a week and not get a goal, to be fair, so I don't know how much it would do.
Very true, very true.
One of the games, I'm afraid, you play for 100 minutes, we won't score.
That's it. Well, I think that's about it for that one. Another disappointing day, and another disappointing start to the season in domestic terms. Rangers continuing to be the Jekyll and Hyde team when it comes to Europe and domestic football. It is Europe that we'll be back to on Tuesday for the second leg against Victoria Pleasant in our third round qualifier. Hopefully that will be a nice straightforward game after the first leg, and we will find ourselves in the playoffs. So as I say, hopefully we can continue with the good play there. We'll have more content throughout the week, and obviously before and after that match as well, so do tune into that. If you're not subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything, and you'll get loads of great Rangers-based content for your free fee. Also, if you tick the wee bell, you can get notified whenever we do go live, and that will tell you when our videos go up and our lives go up. And so just say thank you to our sponsor, Off to the Match, igo.co.uk. They do a lot of great stuff on their site, loads of bespoke Rangers content, figurines, signed frames, other signed memorabilia, tops, and various other bits and bobs. And you can get 10% off if you put Journal 10 in at the checkout, and get yourself a little bit of money off. If you have any gifts to give, birthday presents or anything coming up, then there's a place to go. The boss is in the chat there, setting up, like and subscribe if you've not been banned. I did have to. I didn't actually realize you could ban people via StreamYard, so I've learned that today. And once I did, it was just like click, because we had a couple of unwanted visitors. Such as the way after a match like that. But just reminds me to say thank you to Ross for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank all the guys for commenting. Frustrating game. I appreciate you all coming in.
Absolutely,
Thanks for
and
playing,
thank you, Jack, straight from the car, doing a car pod. Very heart and hand of you.
Sorry, boys. I didn't think in about the added on time. I realised we're about 10 minutes to go. This is going to be tight, but thankfully, bit of a sprint back, but got here just in time. So thank you for having me on, guys.
Yeah, it was good to have you here to add to the chat and keep things, as I say, smiley and what was not the smiliest of games. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. My name's been Doug. Thanks for joining us. And just remember that every night is a Rangers Journal night. Cheers.